Black waitress is fired for helping disabled boy. Next day, she receives a news that changed her life. A poor black waitress is fired from her only breadwinning job for helping a drenched disabled boy wait out in the rain in the restaurant. One day, her kindness comes back 100-fold with a tear-jerking surprise. Elizabeth, a 22-year-old waitress, was busy tending to the guests when she heard gradual tapping followed by pitter-patter on the large windows. The people outside ran for cover as the dark rain clouds spat beads of water when a disabled boy soaked to the skin entered the restaurant. He was so drenched that Elizabeth began to worry about him. "Sir, this way, please," she invited and showed him a seat by the window. Although Elizabeth went out of her way, the other guests at the eatery grumbled after seeing Jan come in. They thought he was a homeless wanderer. Elizabeth saw how the patrons frowned and covered their noses as Jan entered. She felt sorry for him and stopped him immediately, softly telling him to enter the kitchen through the back door. "Sir, the floor has just been mopped, so do you mind coming in through the other exit we have in the kitchen?" "Yes, sure, miss." As soon as Jan arrived in the kitchen, Elizabeth gave him a towel to dry himself. Then she offered him a bowl of warm soup and an old blanket to beat the cold. "Thank you so much, miss," Jan expressed, coughing. "You're welcome. Can I bring you anything else?" Your eyes can deceive you, so never look down upon someone or judge them by their appearance. As Jan exited the kitchen, Elizabeth's boss angrily stormed in. A guest had complained about her letting in a wayfarer. The boss witnessed everything and yelled at the poor black Elizabeth for bringing the disabled boy into the kitchen. "How dare you let a beggar into the kitchen?" he screamed as the other staff flocked around him, staring at Elizabeth. "I'm sorry, sir, but the poor disabled boy was drenched and helpless. Do you think this is some kind of shelter for beggars?" Elizabeth stood frozen and helpless. Worst of all, nobody stepped forward to side with her. "You are fired. Now get out of my restaurant." "Sir, please don't do this. I need this job. I have a sick mother at home and I have to buy medicines for her. You should have thought about it before letting that vagabond inside. Get out and don't come back." Heartbroken, Elizabeth ran out of the eatery because she could not handle the humiliation she faced. Nobody appreciated her kindness, and that hurt her even more. She cried her way out of the restaurant when Jan suddenly stopped her. "Miss, I heard everything. However, don't be sad. Maybe this happened for a reason." Jan consoled Elizabeth and gave her an unbelievable offer for her kindness. "I thought people had forgotten to be kind to one another," Jan began. "But what happened just moments ago changed my mind. I'm surprised by your compassion, miss. I'm really sorry that you lost your job because of me, but I have an even better offer. Do you mind being my caretaker?" As it turned out, Jan was a son of a wealthy businessman who headed a 5-star hotel in a neighboring city. He had visited the town to meet a client and was robbed on his way to the hotel. He didn't have money to hail a taxi and started raining heavily. That's when he walked into the restaurant to wait out the rain and met Elizabeth. "Miss, what do you say? Will you come with me and live in my house in the city? I have nobody at home. My wife died long ago. I have no children. Maybe you could take care of me like your father." After a week of deep thought, Elizabeth agreed. She had no other choice because she needed money to care for her mother. Elizabeth moved in with Jan and took good care of him. Several months passed, and happiness bloomed back in Elizabeth's life. She didn't have to work hard and overtime as she did in the restaurant. Jan loved her like his own daughter and never regarded her as his nurse. Soon all that joy in Elizabeth's life came to a colossal standstill when she found Jan dead in his bed. He had passed away in his sleep. After Jan was laid to rest, Elizabeth packed her bags and got ready to leave the mansion when the landline rang. Little did Elizabeth know how this call would change her life for eternity. "Is this Miss Ludwig?" "Hello, yes. May I know who this is?" "Good morning, Miss Ludwig. I'm Charles, Mr. Brown's lawyer. I need you to come to my office. It's important. Please note my address." Later that day, Elizabeth met the lawyer who read the late Jan's will. She turned speechless when she learned that she was the sole heiress of the late master's estate. Jan had bequeathed everything up to his last dime to Elizabeth. Tears of joy and gratitude flooded Elizabeth's eyes as the lawyer handed Jan's last letter to her. "Dear, I was lonely without a purpose in life other than hoarding wealth. But after you came, I never felt lonely, and you treated me like your father. You gave me the family I never had. I hope you and your mother will live happily." Elizabeth, a former waitress fired from her job for being kind, was now the boss of a deluxe five-star hotel in the city. Despite her newfound riches, Elizabeth was always kind to others. A little act of kindness can change the world, and that change starts with you. Elizabeth, a poor waitress, was fired for being kind to a disabled boy drenched in the rain, but her compassion changed her life when she least expected it. Your eyes can deceive you, so never look down upon someone or judge them by their appearance.